Yeah, look, I mean, nobody obviously can predict the future. We prefer to work with younger, growing distilleries because when your business is growing faster, public perception, the value of your product increases faster than everything else on the shelf around it. Your investors and the owners of the commodity, our barrel owners and investors, tend to do better than the rest. So that's why we recommend it for most people who are in it for long-term growth. Now, we very specifically selected the partners that we want to work with based on looking at their finances, their branding, their marketing, their leadership team, making sure these are business leaders who have built strong businesses for decades now. So we're very confident that these distilleries will be very successful in the long term. Plus the fact that it's pretty hard to let your distillery go defunct, as we found over the last 30 years of no closures in Scotland. But if something happened and a distillery did decide to close, well, what does that mean for people that own their barrels? You now own one of a extremely small number of products that will never ever be created again. One of the reasons why the Karazawa distillery is Japan's most esteemed, rarest, and legendary is because it actually did shut down for a period of years in the early 2000s. They had to. Japanese whiskey was, and the Japanese economy was having a tough time. And they shut down. And in the 10 to 15 years after that, their whiskey now is no longer available. So the people that own their barrels now own and control extraordinary liquid from a place where you can't get the stuff anymore. So that's why those barrels end up going for millions of dollars. Those bottles ends up going for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars per bottle. So owning a scarce asset that can never ever exist again is potentially actually not a bad strategy. Although obviously we want our distillery partners to succeed and thrive over the years. We see it again and again. There are places like Port Ellen in Scotland that close some of the rarest, most expensive esteemed whiskeys out there, and a handful of other ones as well. Rosebank is another great example in Scotland.
Interesting. No, I love that. I love that downside protection. And obviously, you never want the business to fail, but it's nice to know that it's not like you're just gonna go and your barrel's missing that day because your barrel's insured and it'll just be transferred over to a warehouse at that point, and then you could continue the growth that way. One of the things that SIH we always preach is building. What kind of relationship building is in this space? Are you, if you own a barrel in let's say you own 10 barrels in a new distillery, are you gonna get communication on the distillery's performance?